Thank you for tuning in to Exposure TV. I'm your host, DVDJ Rain, and when we come back, we're going to be talking to my guests, Molly and Ashley Sabbatini. So make sure you stay tuned. Welcome back to Exposure TV. I'm your host, DJ Rain. And my guests today are Molly and Ashley Sabbatini. Molly, how are you?
Hey, doing fine.
Ashley, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Good. You guys are some special guests of mine that I've currently been trying to help, and a bunch of people apparently have been on your side and trying to do some things for us, but we kind of want to get to know you a little bit, kind of find out who you guys are.
I'm Molly Sabbatini. My main name is Molly Monaghan. I grew up here in Jackson, went to school at Mar High School, graduated '85, and met my husband, and we moved down to the coast, and I've been in Biloxi since 1990, so it's kind of, that's my new home, away from home from Jackson.
Nice.
And Ashley, she's my firstborn.
Awesome. So now, the fundraiser that you're working on at the moment, tell me about the condition that Ashley has with the hearing loss.
Ashley has sensory neuro hearing loss, and she's had it since she was diagnosed at 4. We didn't realize that that was actually what was going on, because I never dreamt that it would be my own child, because I actually grew up with deaf parents, and it actually, hard of hearing or deafness actually runs in our family, but it just never occurred to me that it would be my own child. And so Ashley's been wearing hearing aids since she was 4, and unfortunately insurance has never assisted with paying for that, and a lot of people think that because it's a medical condition that insurance covers it, but it doesn't pay for any hearing aids whatsoever, and the pair that she has on right now is close to about $4,800.
Wow.
That I'm still paying on, but it may pay for hearing exams, but that's really the most of it. Actual hearing aids are just going to be out-of-pocket expenses for just about anybody.
And now you said it's a hereditary condition?
It is hereditary. We actually had some DNA study done, and unfortunately she's got recessive genes that she's received from me and obviously her father. And it was really not surprising, because besides my parents, my father's brothers, couple of brothers, and also one of his an aunt or an uncle further back in the family has hearing loss, but it never really was a diagnosis. It really wasn't ever studied, because Ashley's the first family besides my father's siblings and the rest of my cousins who actually has a hearing there's another hearing impairment, and it's my child. So
So tell me about the surgery that you guys are trying to get done.
the surgery is actually by Envoy Medical, and my husband David had heard about it from a talk radio show that he's used to listening to. A lot of people probably have heard of Rush Limbaugh, and whether you like him or not, he is actually a recipient of the Esteem surgery himself, and some other people. So we actually looked up it last year just to study to see what it was about, and it's a hearing device that's actually implanted into the ear, or actually into the skull behind the ear, and we started looking into it. The recipient has to be 18, and this was last year. 2 months later, Ashley turned 18. The recipient also has to have sensory neuro hearing loss, and that's what Ashley has also. We sent her audiograms in, and we just had a CT done earlier this year, so everything is a go. So that just tells us this is what was meant to be.
And we talked earlier, and you said that has been around for about 10 years now.
Yeah, it's been around for about 10 years, and FDA just approved it a couple years ago as the surgery that's available for people that have that are actually hard of hearing, and actually profound deaf patients have been receiving this also, other than the cochlear implant that's actually out there. But this one is a surgery that you won't even have to wear hearing aids or anything. There's nothing there that's visible to the person, and there's a lot more that they can do with this type of hearing device.
So 10 years. I know technology's come a long way since then. Now, as far as the surgery goes, I know like you have to make 2 different trips to actually get the surgery done.
It is. In order for the patient to receive the full benefit of this esteem, it's actually encouraged, both ears, and it has to be done 1 ear at a time, because while the patients receive that surgery, it takes about 6 to 8 weeks for the activation to actually to activate the esteem, because of all the swelling, and you need to recover, and there's fluid and so forth, a lot of things that go with healing after surgery.
Mm-hmm.
So in that meantime, Ashley's not going to be able to hear out of her ear, and so she's only going to be able to use the 1 ear, and so you'll get the surgery done. About 8 weeks later, we go back, and our surgery is actually going to be in the Woodlands, Texas, at the Envoy Medical Esteem Implant Center, because there's several of them around the United States.
Mm-hmm.
But we chose that one based on the surgeon and his experience, and he's probably one of your top experienced surgeons to do this, and this is where he goes, and that's where most patients go, where their surgeon goes.
Now, I know we talked earlier about the Facebook group and the support and the feedback that patients have gotten, and kind of tell us a little bit about that.
There's on the Facebook page, I actually discovered it earlier this week, and I believe it's Envoy Esteem Patient. I'm not really exactly what it was, but I actually was reading up on it, and everybody that I had asked, if they had to choose between hearing aids or the Esteem, every reply that I had received was the Esteem.
Really?
Because of the benefits of how much they can hear clearer versus using the hearing aids, because hearing aids actually just amplify sound.
Right.
And if you actually were to put one of Ashley's hearing aids in, you would actually sound like you're actually speaking through or actually listening through the microphone the whole time, or if like you're in an auditorium. So that's the kind of sound that it sounds like through a hearing aid. But with the Esteem, it's more natural. You're hearing through, she'll be able to hear through her own ear canal, and so it's a much clearer hearing, is what the other patients that had received it said.
Now, when we're talking about the hearing aids, are they something like you have to change out every so often, or will like one last for X amount of years?
The hearing aid batteries that Ashley's been using all these years, she changes them out. It could be any 7 days, 10 days. With the Esteem, it's an implanted a battery that is very similar to a person who has a pacemaker.
Mm-hmm.
And these batteries, you don't actually have to replace it between 8 to 10 years, depending on if the actual patient leaves the Esteem on. She'll be able to choose to either leave it on 24 hours a day, or she may choose to turn it off at night. It's of her choice whether she wants to leave it on or not, and that depends on how long your battery is going to last.
Right. It's an amazing piece of technology. I mean, coming from where it's began to now, I know you guys must be really, really excited about it. I mean, especially with the first surgery coming up.
Yeah. It's May 27th.
May
Does it show?
Yes.
Very excited. I never even thought that this was even available. So just to find this out last summer, and here we're doing it a year later, to me it's just a miracle that it's even out there for the hearing impaired.
So have they actually been implanting them for 10 years, or?
For the last 10 years they've been, and of course you're going, like with any kind of new surgery or any kind of medications, they always have to have a trial, and so many of the patients that were in the trial period for it have been very successful. They've actually improved on the lifetime of the battery, and the actual device is actually smaller. The incisions are a little bit smaller. When they shave their head, they're not going to shave so much hair off now. So they've actually improved over the last 10 years. And I think, with all the other hearing impaired that are out there, they don't have, maybe they won't have to wait till they're 18. Maybe they'll be able to do them when they're much younger, but, that's probably still far out there.
Nice. Well, we're running out of time for this segment, so we'll be right back. Because I want to hear a little bit more about that, because that sounds like an amazing piece of technology. So make sure you stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Deftel DJs.
Deftel DJs.
For more inquiries, go to giveforward.com/Ashley's Dream to Hear, Facebook Ashley's Dream to Hear, or email mollymsrn@aol.com. Exposure TV, Tuesdays 6 p.m. and Saturdays 6:30 a.m. on Comcast Cable, Channel 18, Pad Network.
Welcome back to Xposure TV. I'm your host, DVDJ Rain. And my guest today is Molly and Ashley Sabbatini. Ashley, let me ask you something. With all this going on, like, you know, you're getting closer to your date, like, how do you feel about it? You excited? Are you nervous?
I'm a little of both. I'm really excited because I'll be able to hear without my hearing aids, and I'll be able to hear my mom calling my name from my room instead of my sister going, "Oh, Ashley, Sophia, Mom called your name." I go, "Oh, okay."
Yeah. How did you feel like when you found out about like the implants and what they could do for you?
I was a little hesitant at first because I was thinking of all the complications and all that, but every surgery has its complications.
Right.
And I was just like, okay, I'm just give it a try and see.
I mean, yeah, you got to. I mean, it sounds like an amazing piece of technology. I mean, I know you probably got mixed feelings, but I know you're probably more excited than anything to get it completely done. So, I really, you know, I wish you the best of luck on that too. And I'm very, very excited that you guys are approaching your date on your first surgery. So I know that's like really probably a milestone, like with you growing up. You know, especially with not being able to hear since you were 4. Is that correct?
Yeah.
That's awesome. The surgery, you said the first one is May 27th, and the second one will be
Hopefully in December. Ashley's going to stay at home with us instead of travel far for college this fall, so she's going to go to the local community college while we're continuing to raise money, because we're having to raise money to pay for this surgery. It's so expensive. Like I said, insurance doesn't cover any part of it.
Right.
And it's actually $30,000 a year, and it's actually increased in their price, and it's now $33,000 a year. But she's going to stay closer to home while we're doing this, and we're hoping we can do it between semesters in school, which would be December.
Right. What community college do you plan on going to?
Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College.
We
Jeff
just did an event
Davis.
there the other day. They had a crawfish bowl.
Mm-hmm.
It's a nice campus. Very,
Yeah.
very nice. So, what did you say the recovery time was on each year?
Recovery is usually, they say 6 to 8 weeks, but most of the patients that I've talked to, when we actually talked to Dr. Murray, that's her surgeon, he's telling us it's going to be at least 8 weeks, and which is more exciting for me, I think, more than Ashley. I don't know, because that falls on our anniversary weekend, so what better gift than that for your child to hear on my anniversary.
Awesome. Now, Molly, I know you're working with Forward Giving. Tell me about that organization.
It's actually giveforward.com, and when we decided that we wanted to do this surgery for Ashley, I knew that David and I, we were going to either have to refinance the house in the worst economy at this time, and I knew that probably wasn't going to be an option, so I decided, let me see if we can raise a little bit of money, and I just went on the internet like anybody else does, and how do you raise money? And Give Forward popped up, and I started reading about that and realized this was our answer. And we started with that, and right now we've got about $9,500 on that. But because the word has gotten out through my Give Forward site, it's actually giveforward.com/Ashley's Dream to Hear. And it's got all the information about Ashley and the events that we're actually holding, and I'm updating it pretty regularly with pictures and things that what we have done so far to raise this money. But I'm happy to say that's not where most of our money is coming from. It's been coming from our local church that did a huge bocce tournament for us last weekend, and we were very fortunate. We raised about $4,500 that one weekend. And my Ashley's sister Sophia decided to come home from school back in January and decided, Mom, I want to design a t-shirt for Ashley. And we sold some t-shirts and made about $1,500 from there. Also, people that I don't even know are giving Ashley money. We have a bank account at the First Bank. It's actually located on the Gulf Coast, and it's also in Hattiesburg. They've got some branches there. and people we don't even know are dropping money off there, and
A lot of
just
community
word of
support.
a lot of it, and it's a lot of word of mouth. I mean, I am using my Facebook page, of course I am, but we also have a Facebook page that I created for Ashley, and it's strictly Ashley's Dream to Hear. And I'm happy to say we have about 250 followers right now.
Nice.
And so I try to update information, what's going on with Ashley. And some local people, like I said, a lot of local people have been helping us. Right now, the Silver Dollar is they're actually offering their boat for a sunset cruise that we're actually doing a raffle, and it'll go into the end of July. And it's, you know, if you want to bring yourself or if you want to bring 30 of your friends, that's your choice. But that's another little thing we have going.
How would someone go about purchasing raffle tickets for that?
My brother here, you know, if his name is Kurt Monaghan, and he lives
guy.
locally. You know him?
I know.
And he's a great bartender. had to throw that in there. But we can get you Kurt's number or actually a contact information, and we need your money, of course.
Right.
And name and phone number. We'll put you into our drawing. Most certainly will.
Nice. Actually, let me ask you this. You know, growing up, you have a lot of support from your friends.
I do.
You do?
And then some are negative. They'll tell me, well, you can already hear, why do you need this? And I'll tell them, well, from my point of view, it's hard because I'll have to ask what so many times.
Actually, you know, I know it can be like an emotional time sometimes. There'll be highs and lows, but I always keep in mind, I mean, you have time, I mean, you can see it on the social networks. You have tons of support. I mean, me, you know, your uncle, I mean, the community. So any kind of negativity, I mean, just it's always going to be there, regardless of what's going on in anybody's life. You know, I mean, so you know, you take your thing, you take it in stride, and you know that bigger and better things are on the horizon for you. So just keep your head up on that. I do want to ask you about another positive thing, the YouTube video with Sarah
Sherman?
Yeah.
Yeah, she it kind of went viral, and I first saw her on the Ellen show, and a friend of mine called me. You got to see. And this woman was telling her story, of course, and what it was when her esteem was actually activated, and she's actually since then was getting ready to get her second one get it activated. And the day before, and I'm not sure exactly how Sarah actually found out about Ashley, she sent her a very encouraging message on her giveforward.com site, and left Ashley a message that this is a wonderful thing. She doesn't regret anything that she's done, and very encouraging for Ashley because, you know, some of the negativity has been out there, but I think in a whole, between our family, most of her friends, I want to say, the community, and strangers, it's just, you know, been a big outpour of support. This surgery is $30,000. I mean, literally, it's $30,000. And I thought I was going to have to pull out 30 out of my retirement, and I'm happy to say I might pull out 5,000 for this one surgery.
Nice.
You know, we're still working on the next one, you know, because our goal is to have both ears done, and we'll just do that when we get to it. But our first goal is May 27th.
Awesome. Well, we're running out of time in this segment, so we'll be right back. Make sure you stay tuned, and we'll be right back with Molly and Ashley Sabbatini.
For more inquiries, go to giveforward.com/Ashley's Dream to Hear, Facebook Ashley's Dream to Hear, or email mollymsrn@aol.com.
Violator All-Star DJs.
Xposure TV is produced by Peaches of On Location TV.
Welcome back to Xposure TV. I'm your host, DVDJ Rain, and my guests today are Molly and Ashley Sabbatini. You know, we were talking about the cochlear implants, the surgery, some negatives and positives that we've had going on. And from a parent's point of view, let me ask you, kind of go back a little bit. Before Ashley was 4, you know, was there things that you noticed that might have been different about Ashley?
I did. When she was probably around not quite a year old, I kept thinking, I don't know if she's really hearing me. You know, parents want to do the clapping behind their ears and things like that. And, you know, I had actually asked someone at a physician's office, who I later found out wasn't a medical personnel, but a billing person, but I can't do anything about it now. But that's where my first sign was. And Ashley, when she was growing, you know, starting to grow and starting to talk, to maybe 1, 2, 3 years old, she wouldn't have the clearest speech. She would mumble a little bit, or she didn't have a lot of the vocabulary out there. And my sister, being a pediatric nurse, she also noticed it too. But I used to think, well, I understand what Ashley's saying, but it's because she's my child.
Right.
I think it's like a foreign language of some, you know, kind of like, you know what they're trying to say to you. And so I'm with her day in and day out. So my sister actually made a comment one time to me when she was probably 2 or 3. And so we just continued to watch. And the summer, she was about 3, 3.5. She used to love watching Grease. You know, John Travolta looked like her daddy at the time, and she was in love with John Travolta. And she would listen to that musical. And that one day, I went into her room because it was so loud. And I turned it down, and she's like, Mom, I can't hear that. And, you know, it kind of, me as a parent, stopped my heart just about. But so I adjusted it to see, well, where can you hear this, Ashley? And it was very loud. So shortly after that, we took her in and had her hearing tested. And to me as a parent, you know, I have healthy children. No, Ashley doesn't have cancer or something like that, but still, you know, being told that your child has severe, moderate to severe hearing loss, which is really very close to profoundly being deaf. So, and it was devastating.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I said, I know she's healthy otherwise, but still it's a devastating diagnosis for any parent that your child is not as perfect as you think, that, you know, there's some things that are debilitating, and or with her, she has a physical disability, but a lot of people don't realize that the hearing impaired or the deaf population, it's a hidden disability unless you try to talk to them.
Right. Let me ask you, Ashley, do you remember like when you realized that like you had hearing loss? Like, do you remember that?
No, I don't. I just remember telling her, oh, I can't hear this TV. That's all I remember. And then when we went to get my first hearing aids, the audiologist was crumbling up paper, and my first reaction was just, what is that?
Yeah, she never heard the sound of paper crumbling. So, you know, it's the things that we take for granted that we hear every day. Like you and I swallowing, even with her hearing aids, she can't hear that. And when I read about what other esteemed patients can hear with the surgery, just, I mean, it's very little, and you may not think it's important, but that's because you have it. She doesn't. The sound of her swallowing or any other body sound.
Like people don't, they don't.
You don't
like,
realize
they don't
what you're missing.
Yeah, they don't think about stuff like that, because I mean, I don't. Like I know, I take a lot of that for granted. You know, we all do, because it's day in and day out. And I mean, I can't even imagine like what it's gonna be like for you. I'm excited for you in one sense, and nervous for you a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous.
Yes.
But you know, it's gonna be like an amazing thing. Like.
Yeah, me being a nurse, I know that there's risk factors with any surgery we have to take, but as always with the medical field, that, you know, I know the risk factor, does it outweigh the benefit?
Right.
By no means, no.
I think I'm more nervous about all the IVs and stuff than the actual stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be fine.
Yeah.
I mean,
We'll numb it up.
they usually give you
They'll numb
medicine to
it
calm
up.
you down about that.
So that'll be, yeah.
So, now going back to the fundraisers, you said you're working on a golf tournament.
We are hoping that, and by all means, if you can help, we would love help. We're on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. We live in Biloxi. You can contact me, mollymsrn@aol.com. And if you are good at fundraising, or a golf tournament is what we're looking at wanting to do this fall, get in contact with me. I think I have a DJ. So
You do. You know you do.
if I, I'm not saying if I get a bar, but I already got a bartender. So, but I mean,
So
and
you're
I can
set
take
to
care
go.
of first aid. But I would love to have you to help. Because I know we may have about 6 more months to plan out on the second surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And I was telling Ashley that if we really reach our goal and max it out, then the money left, I would love to give it to the Mississippi School for the Deaf here in Jackson,
Yeah.
or some hearing impaired child that needs a set of hearing aids, because like I said, insurance hardly ever covers this stuff.
Right.
And so any extra monies that we can raise, if we can give it to another child that is in need that can't afford it, that would be a wonderful thing to do with the rest of the money that wasn't being used, because it's strictly going to be used for the medical cost and the traveling.
Now let me ask you this, like, as a parent, what advice would you give, like, the parents out there, with any kind of signs, or what they may need to do at an early age if they see, what to look for?
Well, one of the things that Ashley missed out on as a newborn, there's a newborn hearing screen that they always do for every newborn. And Ashley, being 18, she missed that window. They started doing newborn screens approximately 10, 11 years ago, because my youngest one is 12 and he didn't get the newborn screen. So that's the first screening that they do. And I actually I met a woman through our Facebook wall that her 4-month-old is actually wearing hearing aids now, and she's finding out that it's all non-insurance payments and so forth. So that's where it is there. But if you ever suspect that your child's hearing impaired, hopefully you're doing regular checkups with your pediatrician. They should be doing yearly hearing exams on your children. But if that intuition, that parent's intuition, if you feel it, if there's something there, take your child in, go see your physician, go to the audiologist. They'll do a quick hearing exam for these children, and that way it won't mess up with their speech. Ashley was very fortunate. She didn't have a whole lot of speech issues, but I did have to work a little bit with her. But I know the public schools, any child that has any kind of speech impairment along with hearing, they help with them too. But, never go against that intuition, because that's what it's for,
Now, if people want more information on Ashley, the fundraiser, or anything, the cochlear implant, what sites do they need to go to?
We have the giveforward.com /Ashley's Dream to Hear. We actually have a Facebook page that is actually Ashley's Dream to Hear. You can actually go to envoymedical.com. You can even type in and go to your web browser and just type in Esteem, ESTEEM, like the person, your Esteem. So, and just type in there and you'll see Esteem hearing device. And it's the newest thing there. Unfortunately, it's very expensive, and like us, we're having to raise money to pay for this.
Right.
Hopefully some people's insurance will pay, but it's not a lot out there. It's been out 10 years. FDA is approving it, but until I think more and more people want this surgery, eventually maybe the insurance companies will realize that this is what's going to help with the hard of hearing, any hearing impairment person.
And give out your email address again for anybody that might want to volunteer and help out.
Oh, definitely. It's mollymsrn@aol.com.
Okay.
And it's not so much as you giving me the idea what I need to do. I'm looking for people that will actually take charge and actually do something and help and do it that way, because we've just been overwhelmed with lots of ideas, but I'm one person,
Right.
Her daddy's one, and we can only do so much. So we've been having to reach out, and other people are helping us here and there. But, the big thing we would love to have is the golf tournament this fall on the Gulf Coast. What better place to have it, huh?
Right, nice.
In the fall.
We're out of time, and I really, really want to appreciate you guys coming in on the show and let me talk to you. And I wish you the best of luck. And if there's anything I can do for you, please do not hesitate to let me know. And thank you for tuning in to another episode of Xposure.